females' take on sports. Sports Shade.
Hello, I'm Ashley.
And I'm Karen.
And this is Sports Shade. So today on Sports Shade, we are going to talk about the possible first female coach in NBA history.
Yes.
We are also going to talk about a reporter for ESPN who has been making some waves in the social media world. So sit back and get ready for some shade.
The NBA may have its first female head coach, and this could happen sooner rather than later. On Sunday, October 8th, Becky Hammon handled head coaching duties during the San Antonio Spurs preseason win, taking over for Greg Popovich, as they defeated the Denver Nuggets 122-100. The victory over the Nuggets marked the first time that Hammon coached the regular Spurs team in the preseason. Hammon joined San Antonio's coaching staff in 2014, becoming the first full-time paid female assistant on an NBA coaching staff. And last year, the former WNBA guard had her number 25 jersey retired by the San Antonio Stars. According to ESPN, Hammon states that this is an amazing opportunity for me, but we're a teaching program, and that comes directly from Popovich. Hammon is the San Antonio Stars' all-time leader, averaging 15.6 in points per game, 1,133 assists, and 829 three-point field goals, and she will be inducted in the San Antonio Spurs Hall of Fame as part of its 2018 class.
So, first female to be head coach? Is that what it's supposed to be?
Possibly.
Okay.
Right now, she's just an assistant coach, but she is Becky Hammon. She was a WNBA player with the San Antonio Stars, and now she is a assistant head coach with the San Antonio Spurs. So it's going to be exciting. I mean, she coached her first preseason game against the Denver Nuggets, and they won. Yay! And, you know, typically Greg Popovich, who is the head coach for the San Antonio Spurs, he usually allows his assistant coaches to get this, you know, experience.
Okay, so now I get what she meant by it's a learning, it's a teaching technique or whatever. Because then they get to actually learn how to be a head coach. So he's obviously on board with having a female in the world of NBA to be a coach.
Yes. And so she got her experience, and she coached the very first half of the preseason game against the Nuggets, which they won, of course. So I am just excited. I mean, women are doing a lot more in sports. I don't know if she gets to
especially in the male world of sports.
In the male world of sports.
We're not just localized to the WNBA, is that what it is?
WNBA,
National Basketball Association.
Where we're just coaching. Now we have female presence in the NBA. And, you know, I think that we're going to see a lot more of that.
And she obviously did really good.
And she did really good. It's so exciting to see. She's about 5'6", and here she is surrounded by all these NBA players who's like, what,
6'3",
6'4", whatever.
Yeah.
And she's up there in her heels doing her thing. So, you know, it's going to be
That's
great.
one thing they always say about women. We could rock everything in heels.
Almost
great.
Definitely.
So.
I know. And I bet you by the end of that game, she was like, I'm ready to take these.
Oh my gosh, her dogs were barking. That's what we call it.
Definitely.
Their dogs are barking.
Yes, indeed. So yes, kudos to Becky Hammon. I'm going to be watching you to see what you bring. So kudos to you.
Bring it, and let's get another win for the Spurs.
Yes.
Except for not against the Cavs, maybe.
I
don't know. We'll find out. But good job. Excited. Female power. Yes. All right. Jamil Hill, an ESPN reporter, has been making waves in the social media world with a couple of comments. Back on September 11th, ESPN reporter Hill made some comments on Twitter about our president, saying Donald Trump is a white supremacist who has largely surrounded himself with other white supremacists. Following that tweet was another saying the height of white privilege is being able to ignore his white supremacy because it's of no threat to you. Well, it's a threat to me. After that tweet, she posted, "Trump is the most ignorant, offensive president of my lifetime. His rise is a direct result of white supremacy, period." ESPN released a statement later that day saying the comments on Twitter from Jamil Hill regarding the president do not represent the position of ESPN. "We have addressed this with Jamil, and she recognizes her actions were inappropriate." Even though Hill said she understands what she did was wrong, she took to Twitter once again on the 12th, saying he is unqualified and unfit to be president. He is not a leader, and if he were not white, he would have never been elected. ESPN released another statement saying they have suspended her for 2 weeks for a second violation of their social media guidelines. ESPN has accepted an apology from Hill after they tried and failed to replace her on SportsCenter, but her co-host Michael Smith refused. So Jamil Hill suspended, apologized, then retweeted, then apologized again. Do they think that she's going to retweet something again? I mean, honestly, being in the media world as we are, we know that there's certain things we shouldn't tweet, because if we do, we can possibly get in trouble for those things. And there are media guidelines for a reason, and she obviously ignored them twice.
Yeah, my take on it is that, sometimes we allow our emotions to get the best of us. And a lot of people out here have Twitter fingers. And,
including the person she's talking about.
Indeed. I mean, he's, been, subject to it as well. So, I mean, he's out there tweeting, and she's tweeting about him. And she allowed her emotions to get the better of her. And I think that, after she realized it, she apologized.
And during that time, during September 11th and the 12th, that was when football kicked off. That was when Donald Trump started tweeting what he started tweeting about the NFL. So I feel like that was her way of kind of like putting out her opinion there. And again, being in the media world, we know there's a certain time and place and how we should present something to the public. With Trump, he doesn't take that into consideration because we're all fake news. Fake news. So he doesn't really consider anything that he posts being offensive. And I think with her, she might have realized that it was a little too far because she did apologize. My only concern was she apologized, then retweeted something, and then apologized again. And the only reason why it seems like ESPN accepted the apology is because they failed to replace her. And her co-host kind of jumped on board and was like, "No, we're not replacing her. I like her. We do good together."
She does good work. So,
exactly.
I mean, it will most likely be hard to replace her because she has a fan base. And I'm not sure if this hurt her fan base in any way, but they still like her.
And the reason why ESPN was pushing to fight is because the social media representative for the White House made a comment that what she said is a fireable offense. So I feel like they don't want to have any more negative interaction with the White House. So at that point, I think that was what they were trying to do. But at the same time, I feel like you should have some loyalty for your employees and not just jump on a bandwagon because of that issue. Same with, they didn't say anything about the female reporter who had gotten into it with Cam Newton. They didn't really have any comments about that, and she put him on blast on social media. Granted, his comment was not appropriate. I'm a little iffy about it. To me, I just feel like he said the wrong words.
And he apologized.
And he did after a while, though. It took him a while to make that apology, which was my problem. His comment was, "Oh, it's funny to hear females talk about routes." And it's like, or roots, and it's like, wait a minute, why is that funny? Because females can talk sports too. We talk sports. I mean, yes, we get into more of the gossip side, but there are shows where we've done, and I've talked about sports, and we've talked about stats and things like that, and talking about how they played. So to me, I feel like his comment, he was just like taken back, and he should have made that more appropriate instead of like, "Oh, that's funny."
Well, once something come out of your mouth, it's hard to take it back. So, he probably realized that once he said it, it didn't quite come out right.
And he did apologize recently, and he said that he never wants a female to take it that way because he has 2 daughters, and he loves talking to them about sports. So I think the sports world is changing, like we said.
Yes, it is. Very much.
It needs to be more acceptable for females to be able to talk about things like this, because honestly, I feel like females are pushing our ways in the sports world in a sense, and I feel like we're doing a really good job of it.
Yes,
so
indeed. I mean, everyone's going to have to get used to us.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're not going anywhere.
We're making a presence, and we're not going anywhere. We're going to be more visible in the sports world for males, females, everyone all over the globe. So get used to it.
But that is all for Sports Shade today. I'm Ashley, and this is Karen. And listen to the guys and ladies on Score On Air, Facebook and YouTube, and we'll be back next time.
When females take on sports, Sports Shade.